Ladies and gentlemen, the question that has plagued investors in the cryptocurrency market for the last couple of months is the Bitcoin top in, and are we seeing a regular cyclical bear market? These are the big questions right now. And of course, when it comes to top validation, you need to see breakdown validation as well. You can't just look to the upside. In the same way you can't catch a falling knife, you can't really catch a top at the exact moment. You can identify resistance, but resistance can break, right? So we look at this yellow line going back from 2017. We see that it's never broken before. We saw a triple top rejection from that level. That's all bad. That all happened within the regular cyclical guidelines for when a top should be. Obviously, all of that is bad news. All of that is a red flag. But we need actual breakdown validation in order to say, okay, a bear market has definitively started. I have been cautious, I have been slightly bearish, but I have not been definitively saying that there is a proven bear market because we have not seen the definitive validation. The validation could be on the cusp of occurring here. In 1 day and 15 hours, we will be seeing a weekly candle close, and I'm looking at the 50-week SMA, this blue line on the screen here, as a critical level of validation. I'm going to check back in 1 day and 15 hours when that close occurs. And I'm going to show you what has happened and analyze what that means for the Bitcoin charts. Now, it's not just the weekly chart. If we look at the 2 hourly chart, we see a very similar thing. Just like how the 1 week charts, 50-week SMA is very important. On the 2 week chart, we have this massive momentum triangle that goes right back to 2023. It's encompassed the Bitcoin price action since it was at $28,000. That could also be validating a break to the downside, again, in 1 day and 14 hours. So a very big couple of days ahead, ladies and gentlemen. We need to assess what is likely to occur. We need to assess the scenarios on the table here. I'm also going to bring up what you guys think. I did some community polls. That should be interesting to look into. Let's get into it. But before we get into it today, guys, let's take a quick look at the Bitunix Exchange. As you can see on the screen here, it's a clean interface exchange with hundreds of trading pairs available on futures and on spot. But most importantly, it's never been hacked before, and it's been on the market for 4 years, so it's a very, very good track record. You're trusting exchanges to keep your money safe, and you're paying them money and fees to do so. So an exchange with a good track record and with reserves information available is absolutely crucial. That's what this exchange offers. Bitunix is also non-KYC. It's globally accessible. No VPN required, and with my referral link down below, you can get access to this exchange with a 15% trading fee discount. Also, take a look at the bottom of the screen here. You will see register now and receive up to $8,000 in rewards. That is also available with my referral link down below. Get your chance to win those $8,000 in rewards with that link. It's down there. Appreciate you guys. Help out the channel and help out yourself by using that link and getting on a decent exchange. Thanks, guys. I want to start by looking at your poll results. I post community polls quite regularly on this YouTube channel. I think it's good to get a scope of what the community is thinking, and also I can relate that back to my analysis and kind of tell the community why I think they're correct or incorrect, share my insights. First question is, do you think Bitcoin is in a bull market or a bear market? Actually, it's quite surprising. This was posted 3 days ago. Still about a 50-50 split. The 50% of people aren't convinced that this is a bear market yet. And fair enough. I'm not fully convinced that this is a bear market yet either, because I haven't seen the full bear market confirmations yet. But I would say, if I had to answer this poll, I'd say yes, Bitcoin probably is in a bear market. Whether or not the validation is there or not is kind of irrelevant to the question. The question is, do you think it is? And based on all the evidence we have, it would make more sense that we are in a bear market than not at this point. And I'll expand on that in a second. A second question is, do you think Bitcoin will see a regular cyclical bear market bottom in October 2026? And again, based on all the information we have, that would make sense, right? This is where we get into something that is quite interesting that I really try to emphasize in this channel. I've been doing so over and over again. And it's the distinction between opinion and speculation and the data we actually have on hand, right? What should we be doing as analysts? Should we be speculating, or should we be theorizing, or should we be using the data we actually have on hand and extrapolating that forward? Well, the answer is yes. We should be using the presently available data and not relying too much on speculation, because speculation is just theories. There's many factors at play. There's many indicators at play. You can use anything you want to create any sort of opinion and stick by it, but it doesn't really matter. What matters is what the objective data says. And in my view, the most objective, the strongest, the most based data we have on the Bitcoin charts still at this point is the 4-year cycle date range trend. The 4-year cycle date range trend suggests, and it has been suggesting for years on end, that the top was probably in October 2025. It also hence suggests, if we just take that fact and use our reasoning here, it also hence would say that we're probably not going to be seeing another top in 2025. And it also would hence suggest that we're probably going to be seeing the bear market continue until October 2026. That's what the trend says. That's what the data says. Now, we could see anything. The market doesn't work on certainties. It works on probability. It works on scenarios. So we don't actually know what we're going to see. That's why I don't like the word prediction, because you don't make money by predictions. You make money by reactions. But if we're reacting to the presently available data, our optimal reaction is to trust the very, very, very strong data and kind of push aside the weak, unsupported, speculative evidence. And the reason I call it speculative, unsupported, weak evidence is because it's never happened before, right? The 4-year cycle has happened before. The 4-year cycle is all of Bitcoin's price action and encompasses all of Bitcoin's price action. And hence any trend that you would even identify in order to predict that it will break is inherently part of the cycle because it existed within the time period the cycle existed. All data on Bitcoin is cycle related or supported. There is not a single trend you can point to in the Bitcoin charts that does not in some way directly or indirectly support the cycle. That's why it's such a big deal if the cycle ends, and that's why it's so hard to predict when the cycle will end. The cycle will end, guys. It could end next month. We could skyrocket past the resistance we've been holding for a long period of time, but that's kind of aside from the point. The point is this: Bitcoin rejected from a critical level of resistance, such as, but not limited to, this yellow line right here, and it did that at the exact perfect cyclical timing that the cycle thought it would. That is a cause for concern. That is not necessarily a suggestion that we should be running from the hills, selling the house, selling everything, getting out of the country, getting a new passport and running forever and never touching crypto again. That's not what it is. It's a warning flag. Right? At the end of the day, the cycle is a good guideline, but it's not inherently predictive. And so what we need is validations. We need to look to the downside to validate the upside tops. That's why I'm looking, for example, at the 50-week SMA. And this is why I'm making this video on it, because it's very important right now. It's coming up in 1 day and 15 hours. We'll be seeing that weekly candle close. And basically, if Bitcoin closes below that 50-week SMA, below $103,000, it's in big, big trouble, because that's yet another major level of support that will be lost, and hence yet another macro top validation tactic that would have been utilized, I suppose. We would have had another piece of evidence saying, okay, that was the real top. Okay, this is just another cycle. Okay, we're probably going to be going down for a long period of time. Another thing I've been looking at is the 2-week chart, specifically the 2-week chart RSI. I've probably mentioned this a few times on the YouTube channel. I think the 2-week chart RSI is one of the most important Bitcoin indicators there is. Okay, let me go ahead and draw it in here. Apologies, as I've said before, I am away from the office, so I'm on an iPad, which probably, you probably noticed by now, I'm not as quick on the charts as I usually am. It's hard to draw quite quickly on an iPad, but here it is. I'm trying my best. 2-week chart, if you look at the top line on the screen I've drawn there, has marked most macro tops in Bitcoin's price history. And we also have this big triangle formation. It looks small, but if I zoom in, very big triangle formation going backwards since 2023, which is a momentum triangle, right? So all of Bitcoin's price action stemming from around 26,000 was wrapped up within that momentum triangle. That momentum triangle is broken to the downside now. And we're going to be seeing, just like with the 50-week SMA, we're also going to be seeing a close on that 2-week chart RSI in 1 day and 15 hours. So I kind of pose to you this, and this is the point of the video. It's a long-winded way of getting around to the main point here. In 1 day and 15 hours, if Bitcoin is below $103,000, if we see the 2-week chart and the 1-week chart close below that $103,000 level in 1 day and 15 hours, you can pretty much bet that the macro top has been validated. I don't see any real hope below that zone. Maybe if you wanted to get very particular, right, you could look at something like the Gaussian channel on the weekly chart. You could look at the fact that the Gaussian channel's center line on the weekly chart is a 100% accurate indicator for marking swings to the downside and upsides. Every time we cross below or above that center line in the Gaussian channel, it leads to a massive bearish swing or bullish swing, but that's all the way down here at, let's say, $91,000. If you're waiting, if you're constantly looking at different indicators lower and lower and lower, eventually you get to a point in which you're never actually you're never actually validating the macro top. You're just looking down and down and down, and all of a sudden we'll be at 30K, all right? You wouldn't have called the top yet. You have to draw a line somewhere. And for me, a massive momentum triangle that encompasses 2 years of price action with the 50-week SMA, with the rejection from major level, within the time span of the 4-year cycle, all of that would be very sufficient in marking a definitive cyclical macro top. And if we went upwards from there, we skyrocketed from there, that would be a cycle break. That wouldn't be a fault in our analysis because all of the indicators we're seeing right now are getting more and more bearish. Let's see how it turns out in 1 day and 15 hours. Let's look at the $103,000 level. And yeah, I'll make a video then. Thank you guys for watching. Again, sorry for if it's sloppy delivery, if it's quite disjointed. It's very difficult filming on an iPad. I'll be back on the laptop, on the computer in early December. But thanks for bearing with me. I appreciate it. Hopefully these thoughts and opinions are useful. Cheers. So guys, just to follow up, I am going to be filming on an iPad for about the next month. Upload frequency will be relatively inconsistent, maybe once every 3 or 4 days, but in the videos I will try and keep as much depth as I can. Sometimes flicking through the charts on the iPad can be difficult, but I can actually get the words out quite well, which is what I did today, I feel like. So let me know what you think down below, if it was adequate or not. And go ahead and check out the Bitunix Exchange. They currently have a promotion on. If you deposit, you get a 20% futures bonus. So you deposit, for example, 1,000, you get 200 USD given to you in a futures bonus. That's between now and the 16th of November. You can also just check out the link down below. To get that, first of all, use the link down below, but also with that link down below, get that 15% exclusive lifetime trading fee discount just with my referral link down below on Bitunix. It's a global exchange. It's non-KYC. It's never been hacked before. What more do you want from an exchange? I don't know. That's why I use it personally, right? It's the best one I can find. So use that link down below to sign up, help out the channel, help out yourself. Guys, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you soon.